All right, so welcome, Carrie, and to this interview about the Dare to Lead program that you've recently attended. So, really pleased that you're making yourself available, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Looking forward to it.
Excellent. So, just for those who are watching the recording, would you mind just telling us a little bit about your role and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm an early childhood teacher and I am an approved provider of an early learning service in Queensland. I also run a consultancy company. So I guess across a number of fields, leading a team within my own organisation, and then I specialise in my early learning consultancy on helping other teams develop culture and ways of moving forward that aren't kind of working for them. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, sounds good. What are some of the challenges in the early childhood education field?
Oh, I think some of the big challenges that we face are it's a very tiring role, so it takes a lot of energy, and so really getting people to committing to additional training and professional learning can be quite difficult and quite challenging.
Yeah.
I guess like every workplace, you have a variety of ages, but you also have a huge responsibility. So it's a little bit different having an 18-year-old working in an early learning service compared to, say, an office, because they're part of the team that's actually looking after children as well. So I think it's, recruitment is a really critical part, I think, and that's also a challenge, finding people who are fully qualified, people who have got some experience, but also aren't so set in their ways that they're not prepared to make changes and adjustments based on what you do at your service. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good, and certainly an essential service for those who have used it in the past, which has definitely been me. Yeah. So just leading on to the program, I'm just curious as to why you wanted to do the Dare to Lead program with the leadership sphere.
So I came across Brené's work a number of years ago, and I sort of been dabbling around it a little bit, just time gets away, and then with COVID kind of happening, things slowed down for me, and so I actually had an opportunity finally to go through the Dare to Lead book properly, and another colleague of mine actually posted and said, I'm doing this great Dare to Lead program, and I'm much more of a collaborative learner. So I really wanted to nut it out with people that, had kind of, I guess, read the book as well. And I was looking for something. I've been, I had stopped coaching, getting coached to do some other stuff for a little while. And so I've been sort of looking for something else, to fill that gap. And so that's how I came across it. So I was sort of recommended, I guess, for the leadership sphere. But I mean, I did shop. I had a look around once I knew that there were programs for it, and certainly the course and your structure of the way it is kind of put together really suited my kind of work style, I guess. I didn't have to give up full days, because that can be quite challenging sometimes to find that. But, there was enough sort of touching base and coming back. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to say, we were pleasantly surprised by how well the structure worked. Yeah, so I was just wondering, what was your experience like of the program, and what kind of differences it made to you in your professional and or personal life?
Yeah, so I think a couple of things for me. So I loved the collaborativeness. And for me, the real attraction was actually that it wasn't an early childhood driven one.
Right.
I really like to kind of do things. I do lots of early childhood professional development, for good reason. So I really like to kind of get, I guess, different scopes around leadership in particular. So that was a big attraction for me, is that there was such a variety of people at different levels and different genre, having sports. I have played sport quite a lot and at higher levels. So having sports coaches there was really good. I really liked that, and just all that sort of stuff. So I think because we got to hear such different perspectives, because people were coming from very different places of their particular leadership journeys. I really loved that. That was fantastic. And I think what I took away was both some new practical ideas, that people might have shared, and I thought, that would work really well in my team, or that, I really like that. But I think also a clearer vision around what I heard through Brené's Dare to Lead book, and then really being able to kind of pull it together in my mind and think, yes, this is kind of how I'm going to move this forward in a vision. So I don't know if I would have got that, you know, without having that opportunity to kind of really have 8 weeks to break it down and deconstruct it and talk with people and stuff. So yeah, they were some really good points about the program, and the breakout rooms and stuff I really loved.
Yeah, so those private conversations where we got lots of strong feedback about that. And back to your other point, there's so much in the book, isn't there? I mean, when I first read the book, so it came out in 2018, as you know, I thought this is a 1-year program. Like seriously, there's so much in it. So I think the way the course has been structured by Brené, and then we've added our own adaptation as well, particularly around the 8-week program, I think worked really well. And it gave people, as you said, a chance to kind of dive into a piece of content or a principle or an idea, have some really great conversations, do some exercises, and then have a week break.
Yeah. And I think that was really good. Like, I can do stuff there and then, but what I know about myself is when I come back to it a few days later, like everybody, you know, you will always develop that further. So I think because the program, you went week to week, that made me come back to that. So, you know, whereas maybe I wouldn't have found the time to do that. You know, it was almost like a formal kind of process of coming back and reflecting on it again, which is great because it's one of the areas for me that I want to grow more. You know, I tend to kind of move forward too fast, and then things might not work out as great as they could have if I had slowed it down a little bit. So I think for me that structure of the course really helped me get that deeper learning.
So in terms of, I guess the final question around what difference did it make? You don't, you know, we met on the course, and I don't think you're a wilting flower by any stretch of the imagination. As you know, one of the key objectives is about brave leadership and building courageous cultures. I just wonder how the course, if at all, has contributed to you as a leader in terms of having, you know, staff and kids and all of your responsibilities, and particularly around being braver or building more courageous cultures, which I know you're kind of actively doing anyway, but how did the course contribute to maybe amplifying that?
Yeah, I think clarity was probably that would be a great word for me to kind of describe it. So, yes, I mean, as I shared with you, I've got lots of stuff around culture. I just feel I'm so passionate about that. I'm not sure if that's my sporting background or not, but teamwork is really critical in my mind for things to work effectively. But I can definitely attribute, so I've got a wonderful lady that works for me, long-term staff member, been with me pretty much since 6 weeks after I bought the centre. Right. She's a co-director, and things just weren't going well this year with her, and it was really difficult for me because, you know, we've developed a very strong relationship as friends as well as professionals. I have a huge amount of respect for her. She's a bit older than me. But I really had to have a hard conversation with her and like a real proper kind of, you know what, this is kind of not working. What are we going to do about this? Right. And although I know I would have had that conversation, I would have had it because I needed to. The course, I think what I ended up doing was I did the first week of the course, and I had been sort of planning to do this conversation with her, and I actually made a decision to hold it off for another 4 weeks. Okay. And the reason being that after that first session, I thought, you know what, I'm going to get some things from this that's going to really help with that situation. So I'm going to hold it off a little bit and wait. And because I did that, I truly believe this, because I did that, and because I did those first 4 weeks first and really took some time in thinking about it, I really structured it a really great way, better than I've done before. Right. Put a lot of thought into how I prepped her for it, because I knew she'd be really worried about it as well. She knew she wasn't performing. Yep. So she knew we had to have that conversation as well. She would have been feeling really anxious about it. The whole thing rolled out really well. Fantastic. And it was a 4-hour meeting that came out the other side with both of our emotions intact, both of us feeling really positive about the future, making some adjustments for her, you know, so that she can be more successful. And I do think that first half of the course, because I waited and really did that with commitment, helped me make a better decision around that. Excellent. And that was, and it, you know, as much as, you know, talking with someone's not always the most courageous thing you can do, for me that really was, because I have a very good relationship with her, and I've never had to have really a performance conversation with her in 12 years.
Wow.
So we were both entering into really new territory that made us both feel really nervous about it, you know, because we just kind of didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Yeah. So that would be.
That's really nice to hear. It's such a very, very practical, but huge consequences if you get it wrong, right? And huge consequences if you get it right, which it sounds like both of you did. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So thank you for sharing your story and your experience. I guess if you firstly, would you recommend the course? And if so, who do you think would best be suited to attend the course?
Well, I actually definitely recommend it, and I've got staff that will be doing it. If you're still running it next year, I've got staff that will be coming in to do the course next year. Yeah, absolutely. I think the course is suited for a range of levels, which is, I think, also what I really liked. Like, we had, you know, people on the course who had extensive experience at high levels, people like myself who kind of had experience as a leader, but perhaps not at those executive or high levels, and then people who were really just starting out on their leadership journey. So I think it's pitched at a range of levels for people, and I think the people it's most relevant to are people who are really open to delve into themselves as a leader and grow and learn. That's what I think. You know, I think it doesn't matter if you're just starting or you're really experienced. You will get so much from the course as long as you're prepared to look inside and go, yeah, I could do that differently. That's really interesting. I could change that, or I could really honestly reflect. And I think one of the big things I kind of came out is I've realized I only have one person in my square as my square squad. And that's a worry. Like, I need more people there.
Got you,
right. Yeah, you know, and I want
that's interesting,
more people
isn't
there.
it?
But yeah. And when I had to really think about it, there were just, I didn't have anyone else that I could put at that person's capacity. And so it's really been making me think about that, you know, a lot. And so that's been really good. I probably would never have really thought about that before, but yeah.
I think many people found that exercise a little confronting. And so for those who might be watching who aren't familiar with the terminology, basically get a 1-inch square bit of paper and write the 2 or 3 names on it of people who you really value their opinion, right? Their opinion matters. So that's what we're really talking about here.
Yeah. And I think it's funny because I have a sense of guilt that I don't have, you know, my husband or you know, whatever in that. And it's not that I don't value his opinion. You know, of course I do. But I really pitched that at, okay, if I'm at crisis mode, where do I go here? Like, you know, who, you know, and I guess I really thought about the people that I would, people that they wouldn't either just jump in and empathize with me and not do anything to help me, or people who would just try and fix it. I wanted to really think about that person that I go to who actually empowers me to find that result myself.
Nice.
That, for me, that was what my square squad was about. Not people who could help me fix it, but people who empower me or make me feel empowered to actually fix that myself. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a problem, because, you know, I need that a bit sometimes, so I might need to find some other people. But but it's also made me work on particularly some other people that I do talk a lot professionally with, and I'm now coaching some of them around how they can actually coach me back, because they don't feel like, so, you know, they're people that I employ, or, you know, people that I've kind of taught and you know, I guess imparted my kind of wisdom on them, and they've learned a lot. And, you know, they're like, oh, no, I don't have anything to teach you. And I'm like, no, I want this to be reciprocated. So you are going to coach me. And they're like, oh, you know, but
good on you.
it's been really, it's been really good. It's been really good. And they're getting a lot from it. And I really, you know, I don't look at them as somebody who's less, you know, kind of, you know, you can learn from everybody. So I think that's where the attraction, I think, for this course is. If you're somebody who really truly wants to, you know, dig in and go, no, I'm not going to be stuck in my ways. I'm really keen to see how else it can be done. Then you'll get a lot from the course.
Excellent. And also speaks volumes about yourself in terms of being able to be open to the fact that we can actually learn from lots of different people and lots of different sources. It's not about rank or hierarchy or authority.
Right.
We can learn from a whole range of people, and that's probably the fantastic kind of energy and tone that you bring to your leadership role, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and Phil, I've done other leadership courses outside of early childhood with people, at sort of levels like yourself and some of the other participants, and have felt very intimidated or very inferior.
Right.
I guess it's on me. I feel that way. It's a bit like the arena, just the experts are much better than me.
Yeah.
And I certainly came into it feeling a bit nervous about that. That's on me though, not on the course. But after about 2 weeks, I just didn't even think that anymore. And that would be the first time I've done a course like that.
Wow.
Where I haven't done it. Yeah. And that, that's a credit to the way it's structured by yourself and having multiple facilitators, really role models, that whole idea of learning from lots of people, but, just, I guess, structuring in a way where people felt like they really had an equal voice to share their stories or not, and I think that was really good too.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that feedback.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Carrie. That's been absolutely awesome. I really appreciated your insights and your openness. And I think the people who are led by you are really fortunate, actually, to be honest.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks again for your time.
No worries.
Okay. Bye.